The moment that cracked everything wasn't a text or a lipstick stain. It was a smirk. We were at a rooftop party thrown by one of her co-workers. String lights, cheap wine, music too loud for real conversation. I stood beside my wife, Lena, my hand resting at the small of her back, like it had a right to be there. Someone made a joke about fidelity. A lazy laugh rippled through the group, and then she leaned in, glass tilted, eyes glittering. "All the men here have tasted me," she said, like it was nothing, like it was a weather update. I didn't flinch. I didn't ask her to repeat it. I stayed calm. Inside, something went very still. People laughed. Someone clinked a glass. The music swallowed the moment. Lena watched me from the corner of her eye, waiting for a reaction that never came. I smiled, slow and polite, the way you do when you're deciding whether to leave a burning building quietly or scream. On the ride home, she talked about parking, about how crowded it was, about a woman she hated at work. I watched the city slide by, neon smears against a window, replaying her words until they lost their shape and became a dull ache. I told myself she was joking, that she liked attention, that I was tired. It was easier to doubt myself than her. The signs had been there, though. Missed calls that went to voicemail after one ring. Her phone face down on the counter, always on silent. New passwords she said she forgot to share. When I asked why she came home smelling like someone else's cologne, she laughed and said the elevator was crowded. I believed her because belief was a habit we'd built together. The next morning, she slept late. I made coffee and sat at the table, scrolling aimlessly until her tablet lit up with message preview. I didn't mean to read it. That's what I told myself. But the name wasn't one I recognized, and the words were too familiar. Last night was wild. Can't stop thinking about your smile. My chest tightened. I set the tablet down like it was hot. I could have stopped there. I didn't. I opened it. Fingers steady, heart loud. There were weeks of messages. Jokes I didn't know. Photos cropped just enough to suggest everything without showing it. Plans disguised as meetings. Apologies after too much wine. I remembered our anniversary dinner when she'd checked her phone under the table. The way she'd kissed me absent-mindedly, like she was late for somewhere else. Every memory rearranged itself into a lie. When she woke up, I was still at the table. She took one look at my face and knew. Her shoulders dropped. No denial, no anger, just a long exhale, like she'd been holding her breath for months. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she said. I asked how long. She told me. I asked why. She shrugged and cried and got defensive. She said she felt invisible, that it didn't mean anything, that it meant everything. She said she never meant to hurt me, as if intent could erase impact. I told her about the party, about the smirk. She looked embarrassed, then defiant. "I was drunk," she said. "I wanted to feel powerful." I listened. I really did. I remembered the woman I married, the one who held my hand at funerals, who laughed at my worst jokes, who knew how I took my eggs. I also saw the woman across from me now, choosing herself over us again and again, and calling it survival. The fallout wasn't explosive. It was quiet. We divided days like fragile glassware. Nights were the worst. Sleep came in pieces, dreams filled with versions of us that no longer existed. I grieved in small ways. Her coffee mug left behind, a sweater that still smelled like her shampoo, a song we used to love that now felt like a dare. A week later, she asked if we could try again. Therapy, rules, transparency. I thought about the calm I'd felt at the party, the way something in me had already stepped back to protect what was left of my dignity. "I can forgive," I said, "but I won't unlearn what I know." She nodded, tears quiet, understanding at last that love doesn't survive on apologies alone. When she moved out, the apartment echoed. It hurt. It still does. But there's a strange peace in choosing yourself without smirking, without applause. Just honesty. If you've been there, if you're there now, tell me what you do in the comments. And if this story hit close to home, subscribe. You're not alone.